Do you know how long it takes for someone to judge you based on a picture?
4 seconds?
40 milliseconds.
Oh God. Hey Florentina, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So tell us about your journey. How did you go into pursuing personal branding photography? How did it all begin?
As a young child, I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my life. So I was supposed to become a dentist because that's what my mom did. And after finishing high school, I just rebelled against that. I'm like, no, I'm not pursuing that. It's not making me happy. I know that long term I won't be happy. So I convinced my boyfriend and we moved to Vienna, where I started studying political science, which also didn't fit. So I just decided to go after my first passion, which was photography. And then I wanted to turn it into a niche, and I thought I really, really like personal branding photography because it's more than just taking a picture. It's like telling a story.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you knew your why so early on, that requires a lot of self-awareness. So that is commendable that you found it at such an early stage and you were finally able to turn that into your career, which not a lot of us have the courage to do.
Yeah, thank you. But it might seem easy, but it's like not that. So if someone's trying to find their why and they're not finding it very early on, it's gonna come to you eventually, and it's something that you constantly build on, and you might even pivot in another direction. So it's not that you find it and it's there and it's just like this just one thing. No, you can constantly add on to it, or even change it. So you can have several. Why not?
Right, but it all begins with that decision to at least be aware about it, because otherwise we keep going with the flow, not realizing what we really want to do. And for that, we really have to take a step back and think, are we on the right track? Is this making me happy? Or do I want to do something else? So those sort of questions you would have to ask yourself that every now and then, so that you can find the answers.
Absolutely. Yes, I completely agree with that. And in my opinion, it's having like a long-term vision and this mission that you can always check with, like whatever your action is, you can use it as a filter. Like, is it something, is it aligned with my vision, or is it just like noise? Is this gonna take me in the direction that I want to go, or is this just something like for the moment that is just gonna, like, noise? I like to call it noise. So I completely agree with that. It's like so important to know where you're going.
Right. So in your journey, what were the challenges that you faced when you were trying to build a brand for yourself? What were some of the challenges that you faced?
Finding my why.
Yeah, that's a common challenge.
Yeah, because I think my first reason for doing all of it was this: I never wanted to have a boss. But of course, like, I went deeper and deeper and deeper, but that was the first thing. I wanted to be my own boss. So even my first, so to say, venture was when I was 15. I started my first business. It never took off. I couldn't scale it. I had to go back and figure out something different. But this was my first reason. And then later on, I kept on searching for what is the true, what is at the core. And I found out that it's like, I really like to empower other people, because when I was empowered, I got so far. And this is what I want to inspire others to do as well. Like, search for what they are truly happy and do it on a consistent basis. Because if we were all happier, then this world would be such a better place, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish everyone could have a mission like that, where we use our strengths to elevate the lives of people around us. That's so important. So tell us one thing, when you started to find your why, you must have figured out some strategies that work for you. So if anyone is trying to find their why, what are your tips for them? Because it's a really, really difficult question for anyone to start finding their why. It looks very overwhelming. It looks very complicated. So how would you simplify it for them?
For me, it's like asking myself, like, if I had all the money that I needed to survive and thrive even, then what would I do for free? And it's definitely photography in my case, but you can always keep on asking your question, and if the answer changes, that's fine. But this is one of the metrics that I use to find like what keeps me going. And
Yeah.
when I am happy, when my cup is full, then I can give back.
Absolutely. You've mentioned a very great point there, and I think we all keep going and we never take a step back and think what is it that we are doing, not because we have to, but because we want to do that, and that can lead us to our why. But for that, it really has to be, you have to constantly introspect yourself and reflect on what is it that is making you happy, and somehow just going and connecting those whys and all those instances together can lead you to the bigger why, and it can lead you to the purpose in life.
I think that once you eliminate all, like once you are happy, like content, then you can look at this aspect. Of course, like it's not, if right now you don't feel like giving back, it's normal. Like you need to be complete. You need to love yourself. You need to honor your needs and wishes. And after that, you need to do this first. Otherwise, it's not gonna be healthy to be there for others. You need to be there for yourself first. And then I think then it's much easier to also find out your why. When you have, when everything is stable and you're grounded, then it's much easier to uncover this.
So Florentina, tell us about what strategies people should employ when they go for a personal branding photo shoot.
They should hire someone who has knowledge with personal branding photography. For instance, in my case, when I work with clients, I always have like a questionnaire before, and I ask them what their brand looks like, how they want to be perceived, or even if they don't know much about personal branding, I introduce them to this world. And also something like whether they go with a photographer or they do it themselves at home, just try to stay as authentic as possible. And don't try to fake it. And I think that's very important. And then to build on that, it's important to have a very like decluttered background, because when you look at a picture, like that really stands out if it's cluttered. Not to go, because I don't want to go deeper into like lighting and stuff like that, but this would be very, and the size of it, like it should be a headshot, not a full body shot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. These are some strategies that we really have to ensure from our side, and choosing the photographer also would be the biggest decision that you take for a good headshot. But tell me one thing, now there are different platforms, right? So on LinkedIn, your headshot might look different. On Insta, the goal is different. So your headshot, does it have to be platform specific, or can you have one headshot that is generic to all the platforms?
Ideally, they should be a bit different, but in the same style.
Okay.
Because if you want to create brand awareness, you want to see the same thing like commercials. The more you see them, the more you trust them. So it can be like they're using the same colors, but maybe a different, like maybe for Instagram you have a broader smile than on LinkedIn, right? But you have the same setup. So that would be like the best of both worlds, so to say.
All right.
Expressing you differently, but keeping it like maybe using the same colors, like maybe the same background color, or maybe the same thing that you're wearing.
All right. So I'm sure that you must have looked at a lot of profiles to analyze the headshots, and I want to understand from you, what are some misconceptions that you yourself have seen around personal branding photography with the kind of headshots that people have on these platforms?
Yeah, definitely something that does not represent themselves, and this doesn't just apply to headshots. This is actually I started working with this topic lately. It's like digital footprint curation. Okay. So like your brand should be very consistent with what you post on the internet, and even if you posted it 10 years ago, you should keep it in mind, because people are going to Google you. Like whether you're searching for a job, or you're searching for a new business partner, or a client might look you up, you're going to do it. So you want to be consistent. So I give this example all the time. Like if you're a lawyer and you have like a great education, then you want your pictures that are all the internet to actually support your statement and your brand. So if you're going to have pictures of you, drinking at a frat party, not ideal.
Absolutely. So I think, yeah, it's very important, as you said, to align your headshots on all the platforms with the why of your brand. Otherwise, it gives you a very confused definition of what is it that you want to showcase. So it's very, we have to be extra cautious of what is the aspect of our personality that we are trying to portray in our headshots.
Exactly.
But again, there is one more thing that I want to understand from you here. Would you recommend that we periodically keep taking these personal branding photo shoots?
Yeah, I would recommend that, but not too often. So you don't want to change it like every week, because then like you want people to see, like, again, like brand awareness is the more you see something, the more you trust it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to change it every week, but it's important to have it change maybe every 6 months or so. You want to freshen it up and keep it consistent with your style. And maybe, you know, you don't need to go for a new photo shoot every 6 months. You can just take several and then you can freshen it up every 6 months or so.
Yeah, I think we should keep updating it, because with time, even the why of our journey, it might fine tune, it might change. There can be so many of such changes, and we always have to align our headshot to that. So it's important that we do it periodically. It shouldn't be a very old photo, as you said. It really just confuses the viewer. So for anyone who's getting started on their personal branding journey, tell us what your advice would be for them.
Is first of all, just, you know, to start before you learn, not learn and then start. It's important to start, and I like to see it like as a parallel. You try to find out your mission, your why, and plan accordingly, but you already start. And I know it's not easy, but the most important thing is to be authentic and just be yourself. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and just say what you think, and you know, you can just have an opinion and see how others react to it. As long as you don't force it on other people, I think, you know, it's opening new discussions and opportunities, and it's just so refreshing to see people who have, you know, put themselves out there and are just open about their journey, open about their struggles, and there's no need to establish yourself as an expert from the first day.
Yeah. Absolutely. We all are on our own journeys, and no matter how much time it takes, we just have to keep going. That's the most important aspect. If there's no consistency, there are no results in the end. So thank you so much, Florentina, for being with us and talking about personal branding photography. And throughout the conversation, one thing that is the biggest takeaway for me is that we shouldn't be hesitating to chase our dreams. And we have all of that inside us. We just have to keep chasing it. And good luck on your mission. Keep empowering the world with your photography and your knowledge. We cannot wait to see what happens next.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was such a pleasure. I love to talk about this subject.